From an evolutionary point of view, inventions and genes work the same way. Understanding new growth theory. New growth theory was kicked off by Robert Solow's paper, which showed that increases in capital were not primarily responsible for increases in GDP per capita. Increases in technology were the main cause. I showed in a previous video that, in fact, human beings are the only species on Earth to escape the Malthusian trap. So the obvious question is, what is different about human beings? I showed in this video that what makes human beings different is their brain and their ability to reason. It's absurd that economists and evolutionary biologists have not made the connection between escaping the Malthusian trap and new growth theory, especially since Darwin and Malthus made this connection over 200 years ago. Perhaps the reason is because the economists who have focused on Malthus are always predicting a doomsday event, one that the empirical data for humans doesn't support, and in fact, empirical data for other species does not support. But what about the outrageous claim that genetic mutations and inventions function in the same way under evolution? In order to understand this, we need to understand how evolution works. Because of the Malthusian trap, most species' population is equal to the amount of energy that they can extract from the environment. But when they have a successful genetic mutation or modification because of sexual intermingling, it means that they're able to get more energy from the environment than their population needs, which allows their population to expand until their population is able to use up all available energy. Under evolution, these changes happen slowly enough that the population is almost always equal to the amount of food that's available. So we see the only way that you could escape the Malthusian trap would be to have successful genetic changes fast enough that you are able to keep ahead of the food supply that was available. The rate of genetic mutations in humans is not particularly fast compared to other species. Most species that have a high rate of genetic mutations also have a very high birth rate, and therefore the two cancel each other out, and they stay within the Malthusian trap. So how did humans escape the Malthusian trap? It wasn't having a faster rate of genetic modification. As I said before, what makes humans different than every other species is our brain and our ability to reason. So what is it about our brain and our ability to reason that allowed us to escape the Malthusian trap? Our big brain allows us to create things. Yes, some birds, ants, and others create houses, but they create the same thing over and over again. There's no creativity there. It's genetically encoded. Whereas humans harnessed and created fire. They created bows and arrows. They created cell phones. They created rockets. And they're the only species that creates artwork. You don't see ants decorating their home. You don't see birds building 3-bedroom houses in different architectural styles. The things that humans create can be categorized in one of two categories: inventions and artwork. Inventions are those things that are designed to have a utilitarian purpose. For instance, a bow and arrow. Artwork are those things that are supposed to give us an emotional response, such as a painting or music. One of the first human inventions was the hand axe. What did the hand axe allow us to do? It allowed us to break the bones of our prey and other prey to get out the marrow, which allowed us to get more energy and therefore allowed us to expand our population. It also allowed us to create clothing from the hides of the animals we killed. This reduced the amount of energy our body had to consume to stay warm. Another early invention of human beings was harnessing and/or starting fire. This allowed us to cook our food. And by cooking our food, we were pre-digesting it, which means that we got more calories, and we warded off any bacteria or parasites that might infect us and take away our energy. Cooking food not only allowed us to expand our population, but there's also overwhelming evidence that this allowed us to expand our brain size, which allowed us to be even more creative. So both successful genetic modifications and successful inventions increase the amount of energy for a species, which means from an evolutionary point of view, genetic modifications and inventions act in the same way. Thus, it's clear if humans were able to invent fast enough to expand their food supply faster than their population expanded, then they can increase their per capita income and escape the Malthusian trap. Our big brain and our ability to create inventions has allowed us to survive in a wide variety of ecosystems, from rainforests to Arctic tundra, which almost no other species can do. So our inventions first allowed us to expand our territory and our population before we were able to escape the Malthusian trap. Farming and ranching are unlike any other genetic modification or invention, in that it allows humans to expand their food supply rather than just expand what they can take out of the existing environment. In other words, we modify the environment so that we can create more food for ourselves or more energy for ourselves, unlike other species. While humans were able to expand their territory and their population, they were not able to escape the Malthusian trap for almost 200,000 years. What is it that changed around the year 1800 that allowed humans to escape the Malthusian trap? It had to be something that allowed the rate of inventions to increase rapidly. It is also important to note that this escape from the Malthusian trap around 1800 was highly localized geographically. The rate of invention is not linear among geographic areas or across time periods. There was a much faster growth of inventions in ancient Rome than there was in the medieval and Dark Ages in Europe. Any explanation of how we escaped the Malthusian trap has to take these variations across time and geography into account. Long live freedom, damn it.